We are recording. Love it. I'm going to get rid of me. Nobody wants to see that. Okay, let's go. What is your thing? Okay, so you're all here for many different reasons, but really think about thing. I often get people saying, why do you call it a thing? It should be far more specific. But no, we understand what that means. You know, you want to nail your thing. But just observe what that really means to you. And what I want you to do in the next 20 minutes is scribble any thought at all that comes out. It could be questions, it could be resistance, it could be a word, whatever comes up, just scribble it down. It doesn't need to make sense in the moment. This is an unruffling exercise. So what even is your thing? Like, just capture the first thing that comes into mind. And we're going to start the exercise in a minute. But I just want you to capture that very first thought right now. We're going to go through really fast. This is pacey. Not much time to overthink here. It's all about how to find your thing, develop the thing, and then ultimately, why do we need to understand our thing? Let's think of the objective. It's to get recommended and get booked. So let's remember that. Who the heck am I? I'm Eleanor Tweddle, founder of Another Door and Recommended. Recommended is all about how to nail your thing and get heard, get booked, get known for it. And that's kind of what my experience has been over the last 5 years. So I wrote a book about redundancy. It was from a lived experience point of view, not an expert point of view. And now I continuously get recommended for redundancy, for guest podcasts, for media, for writing, all sorts of things, but I'm known for redundancy. Now we're going to explore kind of how we use it, because now I don't really career coach people who've been made redundant now. But I do obviously want to sell my book. So I'm really intentional about why I would go on some podcast or some media and what I would be trying to get out of it. So when you really start thinking about this stuff, really stay in the space of, for what purpose? Because quite often we chase shiny objects like media and things, but you've got to really land the intention, like, what do I want from this? So let's get stuck in. I'm hoping you've got kind of a sheet of paper you can do lots of scribbling on, and we're going to go for it. So what I want you to think about, and you've already started the discussion, which I love. What is your thing? It could be a niche. It could be expertise. It could be a specialist subject. It's your thing. It kind of is, if you were to sit on the mastermind chair, that's your specialist subject. That's what you would be talking about. Now, what I want to say here is you don't have to be an expert from research or study. We're going to go through this in a minute. It can be from a curiosity point of view or a curation point of view. So don't always think that, oh, I've got to have all the skills. And we'll go through this as we start unruffling our thoughts. But essentially, it's your specialist subject that you can talk a lot about with passion, and therefore you're going to get people recommending you for it. The thing you get recommended for. And it's that moment when someone says, oh, can anyone recommend X? They think of you. That's where we want to get this to. So immediately, it's not really about an offer as such or a business idea. It's an exact thing that you get recommended for. That's where we want to get to. And when you get into that space, it means you can get word of mouth work. People will literally say, oh, I'm looking for so-and-so. And someone say, oh, yeah, they're brilliant at it. And don't underestimate this, because this is where people go wrong. People widen out and they say, oh, I'm a career coach. You won't get recommended for that. Well, you might do, but, is it the right people you're attracting? So really think about that kind of hook and the thing that attracts somebody, and then they'll recommend you for it. I've put here who journalists think about, that's where you can take this to. So it's, how you actually get journalists dropping you an email rather than you pitching, because they know that that's what you talk about, the go-to person. So you find it by exploring what you've got already. And this is what we're going to do in a minute. Could be skills and training. So it could be the stuff that you're really good at already because you've been trained. Could be lived experience and storytelling. It could be what you're interested in. You might not have any training in this thing, but you're really interested. That's completely okay. People sometimes feel like you have to be an expert to own this space, but you don't. You just have to be really interested and go to the people who are the experts. Or sometimes it's something that you're really good at. And what do you do with it? Well, you start to understand the problem of the thing, and that's where you start talking about it. You find an interesting hook, you find the warm audience. You don't always have to create the warm audience. You can go find it. So when you know what your thing is, you can really understand, well, where are these people hanging out already? And then you think about how you deliver it for them. Then you think about your why. It all kind of comes full circle, because then that hooks to the problem. That is why it's important. So let's get going on the free thinking. No editing, filtering, or overthinking. I want you to write the first thing that comes into your head. So, where are you? What is going on for you right now? There is no right or wrong answers here. This is now you talking to you and taking what you need from these questions. So just write down whatever comes up. Let's go a bit deeper on that. This is important where you are right now. This just kind of centers your thoughts. How are you? How are you feeling? What are the things on your mind? What's the one question you'd love answered right now? What's a word that describes where you are right now? What are the things you're putting off? What's the things you're proud of? Said this is going to be quick. Okay, the unruffling has begun. Let's go deeper. You might use Ikigai in some of your work, but I think it's a really good thing to think about why you do what you do. And for me, Ikigai is more than just this thing about, oh yeah, getting into this sweet spot in the middle. It actually helps me to understand my thing through the lens of, am I doing this because I'm good at it? Is it because I love it? Is it because I'm on a mission? I really want to change something? Or is it because I get paid for it? So I actually use it kind of in a different way. When I have my thing, I create things around each one of these, because sometimes you have to take a call. You have to judge and say, right, my mission is to change the world. So I might actually do this thing for free. However, I also want to get paid. So I need to actually create an offer or a thing that pays me. And I know how I get paid for it. And then the other two is, obviously, I love it. I can research about it, talk about it forever, love writing about it, love talking about it. That could be a space of where you market and where you sell and how you get it out there. And then good at it is where you kind of really tune into your strengths. So actually play with Ikigai a little bit and think about, okay, where are you at right now? And what is it that's really driving you? In terms of your offer so far, what is it that's driving? Are you in a certain space more than others? Are you happy with how that kind of looks in terms of balance? What is it speaking to you when you think about why you do what you do? Don't worry if you're missing things. That's completely, it works with you. It means that you're in a space where you're thinking about something that's come up that's important. So don't worry at all. This is not a answer 10 questions and you get to the end. This is an unruffling experience of trying to get to your thing. Right, we're going to go around this wheel, and this is really fast because this literally has to work at the top of your conscious. This can't be overthinking. But these are the areas that we want to unruffle to find the specific thing that you want to focus on. Because this is not just about having the ideas and the development, it's how you start feeling and thinking about something. So go with me. Don't worry if you miss things. Just capture what's coming up as you go through this experience. This will work, so don't worry. So let's start. We're going to start with, who are you? Think about how you respond to these questions. Who are you? How do you finish this sentence? I am. I am a. I. Now, as a prompt, you might answer the job title. You might answer how you're feeling today. You might answer really randomly. What came up? Again, don't overthink. Write exactly what comes up when you think about this. How do you answer the question? Who are you? Could be emotions. Could be characteristics. Could be task. Notice what you've written. Notice how it feels when you look at what you've written to that answer. Now let's think what you know. What are your skills? What's your experience? What's your knowledge? Also notice if you're getting resistance to some of these areas. If you think, oh, I need more time to think about this, that's okay. But think about what the first thing that came up. Knowledge comes from things that maybe we've studied or trained in. Could be maybe job, work, task. What could be life or interest. It can come from different directions. So again, maybe just notice what you've written. So often we're kind of pushed into this space of find your passion. Well, that doesn't always work. Certainly not with clients that I work with. Sometimes actually passion isn't what you want to be making money from. I'm thinking about that ikigai. Sometimes it's nice to leave the things you love as just the things you love and you don't need to monetize it. So interest is a really interesting one to explore. So see what comes up when you think about your hobbies, the way you pass time, your curiosity. What comes up there? It could be something that you can think about. But again, notice how you feel when you write about what interests you, what your passions are. Have you written things that are work related? Or is it something that's your kind of growth interest? You know, you kind of don't know anything about it, but you're interested in something. Where is your energy? What things really excite you? Again, notice what you've written, how you feel about that question of your work versus the things you love. Notice what's going on when that comes up. And we're going to keep building on that because now we're going to think a bit deeper. We're going to keep that thought going to the next level of what do you love? What is your passion? are your priorities? Maybe let's just notice habits. This is all about the things you do, the things you believe in, things you really want. Could even be related to your values, the things you stand for. So again, notice what you've written. Okay, we go now back into more around the context of work and what do you want? You'll start to notice that maybe you're having repetitive thoughts or something might be coming up. Keep noting that. So what do you want? What are your goals? Your aims, your work. Knowing what you want from something can really help you to understand what your thing needs to be. So have a notice of, is it about making life better? Is it about making things different? Is it about change? For you personally, what is the thing? What do you want from it? This one is important because on your bad days, knowing why you're doing something, what you want from it, that will help you through. So start to unruffle this. And again, as we keep working through this wheel, maybe we'll start finding repeat thoughts. Now, need is very different. Need is the fulfillment of the very basics. And sometimes we confuse wants and needs, but let's really think about what are your non-negotiables when it comes to work? Because sometimes our thing is in conflict with this. What will you just not compromise? The basics of what you need, your minimum requirements from work. It could be financial, it could be the way that you work, it could be the days, the hours, the lifestyle, the timings. I'm not going to be working after 6 p.m. This is important stuff because no point in creating a thing that then conflicts in it. So again, notice what came up when you thought about your needs. Could be lifestyle, could be commitment, could be just a moment in time. Needs can change. It's good to keep checking in with if it's still serving you. So notice what you've written. Now think about, why is any of this important to you? What are your expectations? What's the purpose? What's the point? And sometimes purpose can feel so big, like you feel like you have to change the world, but actually it could be very much related to need. Your reason for doing any of this could be you just want a better lifestyle for you and your family or your friends or just for you. That's fine. That's absolutely fine, but own it. Own why this is all important, why this work's important, why developing a thing is important to you. Sometimes it is forced change. And again, it's good to recognize that. Sometimes it's by choice. You're choosing to work in this way. Sometimes it's about problem solving. Excuse me. Again, this is really important. I can share from my own experience that I had to create a business that works around, we're a military family, we move every 18 months, 2 years. It was impossible to have permanent employment anymore. So it was actually forced change. But did I really acknowledge that at the beginning? it's important because it really helps center you and understand why you're doing what you're doing. It is forced change, but I'm going to own it. I'm going to own this and make it work for me. Again, notice what you learn. And the final one we're going to explore, priority. What are you prioritizing? I've put what is your priority here, but what are you prioritizing in your life? What was the first thing that came up? Have a look at what you've just thought about. And it's about where your commitments are, what your number one focus is. And let's be honest here, distractions. When you think about your priorities, some might be a distraction from your work. And it's fine. Distraction can be good. I mean, am I allowed to call my daughter a distraction? I'm not sure. It's a good distraction, right? But I have to be practical with creating my thing to work around her. I'm a solo parent at the moment. My husband is deployed. I have to work around her. There's no option there. I have to drop her off at school, I have to pick her up. So actually, she is my priority. My work thing has to fall around that. And it's pointless me pretending that doesn't exist. So it's kind of like, it could be dedication, but it could be also around, prioritizing your dream. You could be doing that. It could be about making it happen. But it could be about responsibilities as well. So you can see how the wheel starts coming full circle. And you can see how it starts to go, right, okay, this has all got to work for me. Now your thing, where does your thing come from? It's when it starts to all add up. So in each one of these circles, in these spaces, you have got an answer that starts working for you. So your idea, you could have 100 ideas, but you can say, well, this is the one I've got to go for because it fulfills my needs, where I want to take this. It fulfills my energy. And this is how you start to understand which one to go for. It's how you start to bring up to the surface the ideas, because we've all got, let's go back around. We've all got these amazing skills and interests, and you've all been on the coaching now. There's so many ways you can go with this. So this is not a problem in terms of skill set. This is what you focus on. So I really want you to think about, what is it that you absolutely love doing, that you've taken from that you're really curious about? Remember, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to start thinking about it. You can be the curator. So say if you were absolutely loving positive psychology, you wanted to start getting recommended for it, but you think, well, I've only done like 1 hour of it in the coaching, and I don't really want to, delay this to start getting a 3-year course. You could start doing a podcast about it and interviewing experts and writing about it and start to become known for that thing without you having the qualification immediately. Yes, of course you can go and get it and work towards it, but you don't have to delay that. You just love it. You're really good at it. There's something about it that really connects with you. So that's how actually you start making the money. You curate a community of people who love that, or you curate a community of people who offer whatever it is under the thing. So redundancy, of course, I'm not passionate about redundancy. That would be an odd thing. So actually my love it probably didn't exist in that space, but I was really good at talking about it. And actually I realized the world kind of needed a little bit more. This was 7 years ago, I started writing my blog. They probably needed a bit more people talking about the honesty side of it, how hard it is. 7 years ago, people didn't really talk about that in redundancy space. The bit I loved was when I started connecting with people who enjoyed the work, but it started from the world needed it, the blog, the curiosity part of it. And then eventually you get paid, you find a way to get paid for it and monetize it. But you can see how you can sort of play with that. You don't have to be the expert right now for your thing. You've got to make it work within those circles. Right. I want you to just have a look at scribbles and what came up. If you've had hundreds of ideas, see what was the repetitive theme that came up. And if you have had maybe no idea or you felt a bit stuck, was there something that came up that, again, maybe you've got curious about? And we're going to stop this exercise of unruffling now and just share what has come up for us now. And how do I stop this? Stop the share. There we go.